Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clark on YouTube. Oh no. Hey Descendants fans, I want to say this to every other YouTuber out there who may have criticized Descendants. You have no idea or can't even begin to imagine how amazing this fan base is. These fans are so incredible and they never quit on what and who they believe in. And I know this from what I've experienced over the last year and a half. I used to talk about Descendants for those of you who are unfamiliar with my content over a decade ago on my original podcast. And I got such a huge response from all the videos that I used to throw up in the archives of my YouTube channel about Descendants and zombies. And now, over a decade later, I have returned. And after making my illustrious return, I have received such a huge response for all the commentary that I have given about Descendants. And I can honestly say, from one heart to another, from my heart to all of your hearts, that this is the most fun that I have ever had in my life and an experience that I will never, ever forget. Why will I never, ever forget it? Because of each and every one of you. This happened, and this YouTube channel exists because of each and every one of you. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. I would love for you to be a subscriber of this YouTube channel and join the over 1,700 fans who have already previously subscribed to this YouTube channel and love this YouTube channel for its content and how enjoyable it is. It is truly heartwarming and an experience that I will never ever forget because of each and every one of you. When I relaunched this YouTube channel over a year ago, on August 5th, 2025, I will celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the relaunch of this YouTube channel. When I thought I was done about 7 years ago in 2018 and had hung up the headset for what I believed to have been the final time, you guys brought me back like a superhero that you missed, and you wanted to be a part of all of your lives. You waited for me to return, and you pulled me out of the abyss if you did anything. And I owe you guys my soul, if not my life. Thank you so much for just allowing me to be a part of what you love and the content that has brought us all together. It has been an experience that I will never ever forget, and I will never forget any of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, because the reality I'm faced with every single night that I sit behind this microphone is that you could be anywhere else on YouTube checking out anybody else's Descendants and Zombies content who have probably 20,000 subscribers, or I don't know, 50,000 subscribers with 50,000 likes per video. But you're here. And because you're here, it's such an honor and a privilege of mine to be sitting behind this microphone every single night recording a video for each and every one of you who love Descendants so much. And here's the thing that separates me from every other YouTube creator out there. I realize and I recognize how important Descendants is to each and every one of you. I realize and I recognize how important Zombies is to each and every one of you. I mean, Zombies, for instance, is a franchise that nobody knew nothing about, immediately started calling it a copycat of Descendants, and it exploded with over 250 million hours of stream time on Disney Plus and Disney Channel. And it got a rating of 6.2, which is just behind the Descendants with an average of 0.2 separating the two franchises. Meg Donnelly was somebody nobody knew nothing about, and here she comes with very little acting experience. Her parents knew nothing about the industry. She sucked at sports, and she went on to become one of the most successful actresses of all time, immediately inspiring everybody who ever said they were a fan of a zombie, which goes all the way back to the 16th century. I want to say this, I have all the respect in the world for someone like Meg Donnelly because of everything she has done and how many people and how many lives she's touched and inspired. She offers so much valuable advice. Her acting ability as an actress is absolutely unparalleled to anything that I've ever experienced in my life. So when I heard that Millie Alcott had taken the role of Supergirl away from her in the live-action Superman coming out this summer, I was really upset about it. I almost wanted to cry, because how Meg Donnelly reminds me of Supergirl, apart from Melissa Benoist in the original Supergirl TV series, is incredible. If there was anyone who ever deserved to be Supergirl in a movie franchise, it's definitely Meg Donnelly. I would love to have seen her alongside Superman, with how many people have represented Superman and his legacy for forever. And because I'm such a huge Superman fan, I don't know what franchise I'm more a fan of, Marvel or DC. It's kind of up in the air, kind of a coin toss between both of them, but I always have been a huge Superman fan. I was a really big Batman fan too, so when I heard Meg Donnelly say I love Batman in Japanese, I loved it to death. I think she would have been an amazing representation of Supergirl, and if she's doubting herself out there tonight, she shouldn't be. Apart from Supergirl, let me say this, there are so many honorary roles that she could achieve in entertainment, because there are so many characters that she reminds me of. Her roles on Supernatural and The Winchesters was incredible. American Housewife was a whole different story. But she was somebody who could take a character and really bring it to life in a way that I don't think anyone who could have ever represented a character such as Taylor Otto in American Housewife as effectively as what she did, and convey a message and put it out there to everybody who was aspiring to be an actress, much like Meg Donnelly. She was an amazing, amazing actress, and I just miss her on TV shows like American Housewife, The Winchesters. I'm hoping she's going to get more roles either in TV shows or movies, because she deserves them, and I want to say that. There is no room for criticizing an actress like Meg Donnelly. Sure, she's had her battle with anxiety and panic attacks, but haven't we all had a battle with anxiety or panic attacks? I have had many of them. And I've been very open and honest about my struggles with that kind of stuff. I've been open and honest about my struggles with bullying, which is what a message that Descendants has conveyed for forever. Zombies, too, likewise. They've always conveyed this message of, believing in yourself, believing in your dreams, and standing up for what you believe in, even if it is in the face of a bully who is dealing with their own circumstances and insecurities. Every single day they come face to face with you, who they're just trying to bring down because they are battling with their own insecurities that they don't tell you about and hide from the world every single day. I really have a tremendous amount of respect for actresses like Kylie Cantrell, who have picked up the ball after Dove Cameron threw it to her. She picked it up and she's been bouncing it in her proverbial court ever since. So many people, millions if not hundreds of thousands of people, have been inspired by Kylie Cantrell's representation of the Queen of Hearts' daughter Red, for her fearless attitude, her rebellious attitude on times. But I know there are people out there who have been rebellious against their parents before. We've all made mistakes. Some of us admit to them. And the people who do admit to our mistakes are very, very respectable people, because it takes a lot of courage to do it while others hide from their mistakes but eventually admit to their mistakes. And I think that's something that Descendants is definitely trying to convey from installment to installment, especially ever since the premiere of The Rise of Red. You should never hide from who you truly are. You should always represent yourself for how you want to be perceived, who you are as a person, who your heart wants to be introduced as, and you should never hide from any mistakes that you have made. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and that's why I wish I was in possession of a pocket watch tonight to go back in time, pull a Phineas and Ferb, build a time machine, if not for a pocket watch, and go back in time, spend more time with my parents and the ones that I've loved for forever, because I've made a lot of mistakes in my lifetime. When I was, 17 years old, I started up a podcast from my mother's basement. I was actually younger than that, I believe, probably between 13 and 14 years old. I'm saying 17. But I was probably 13 years old when I started streaming a radio show out of my parents' basement. My parents' home wasn't big enough for me to have a radio show in my bedroom. This is probably one of the first radio shows that I've actually streamed out of my bedroom, or YouTube archives out of my bedroom. But my parents' home was never big enough for me to have a radio show streaming out of my bedroom, so I had to resort to using the basement. And every single night I would sit behind a podcast microphone and I would talk about pop culture, probably the Backstreet Boys putting out their latest single, which was on May 6th, 1996. Of course, it was called Get Down. The popularity of NSYNC, the popularity of Britney Spears, the popularity of Mandy Moore, a TV series like Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Boy Meets World, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Alex Mack, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Goosebumps. I talked about everything on my radio show week in and week out, if not night in and night out. And I didn't have a very big response. But I knew one day it would all pay off, and I would be sitting here talking about a franchise like Descendants and Zombies, who have influenced and became such an influential force behind influencing so many people who never ever did believe in themselves. And there's nothing wrong with never ever believing in yourself, but there's always something cool about being inspired by something such as Descendants to achieve your dreams. And ultimately, that's what characters like Mal, portrayed by Dove Cameron, Evie, portrayed by Sophia Carson, and now Red, portrayed by Kylie Cantrell, and the upcoming characters being portrayed in the Descendants 5 installment of the franchise to keep the franchise alive, that has always inspired so many people to achieve their dreams. If there's one thing I want you to run away with from this podcast, it's that every dream is achievable and happily ever after does exist. Because how many times in your life have you been told that happily ever after is just a part of a fairy tale and it doesn't exist? How many times have you been told that your dreams are not achievable? That's one thing, that is one very powerful message that I want you to run away with, and I want to convey on this podcast, no matter how difficult it may be seen to be perceived or to be heard. Whoever's listening to my voice tonight, I want you to know that every dream out there is achievable. We got that from how many times Red was defiant against her mother, Rita Ora portraying the Queen of Hearts, who did probably the best job portraying the Queen of Hearts that I have ever seen in my life, because I go all the way back to the, 1950s, watching the original Alice in Wonderland, and that animated classic is still one of the most revered in my mind. There are people out there who forget about the legacies of the original Disney princesses that inspired this franchise, and who will say on their podcast that they know nothing about Sleeping Beauty, they know nothing about Snow White because they've never taken a chance on it. There are people out there who criticize the franchise for the merchandise. There are people out there that criticize the people who watch it and give it over 781 million hours of screen time when you talk about the original trilogy of Descendants, because they don't want to accept how big of an impact it's made on each and every one of our lives, mine included. You know, if you were to tell me 15 years ago I'd be sitting here tonight talking about how much I love Dove Cameron, how much I love Kylie Cantrell, I would have probably thought you were crazy, because I never thought Disney would go as far as to create something like this. The very first Descendants had a budget of $10 million, and for what they had for a budget, they really made it work. By the second installment, it went from $10 million to $12 million, and by the final installment, they gave it an additional $3 million to up it to $15 million for a budget. And every installment of Descendants, they made work. You know, Dove Cameron can say that they told the story and completed it 100 times over, and that's why she'll never be a part of Descendants 4, never be a part of Descendants 5, not even make a cameo. Let her believe what she wants. There's always an opportunity to create a new story, either create or write a new story, and there is always an opportunity to expand off what you've already told as part of that story. I know that from all the studying I did in folk literature and English classes all of my life. I was sitting in the back of the room, and every single time the teacher would pose a question, I'd be like, ooh, I know the answer. And she would never pick me first until eventually I spoke out and said the answer when nobody else knew what it was. I spent a lifetime studying folk literature. I spent a lifetime reading novels and studying novels like Dracula, and always wanting to be a part of sci-fi franchises or sci-fi TV series. That's why people like Meg Donnelly and Dove Cameron have always had one up on me when starring in stuff for the franchise of Star Wars or Supernatural. I would have loved to have the opportunity to be a vampire slayer in Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, because I just love this origin and the backstories behind so many of the most revered supernatural creatures of all time. No matter if you're talking about werewolves, no matter if you're talking about Frankenstein, no matter if you're talking about Dracula. I would love to be in the woods one night and go face to face with Dracula. I don't know who would come out on top. I'm dressed in black tonight because the graveyard shift is coming up and I gotta soon jump through my window. I love, this whole sci-fi theme that Disney has had backing them ever since the acquisition of Star Wars, and I love how they're really running away with it. But for those of you who don't know much about folk literature, I'm sure there are a lot of you watching this video that probably do. There are so many characters that have yet to see an introduction in the Descendants franchise that you can go on endlessly talking about this stuff. And for those critics out there that are saying that they're running out of supernatural creatures to expand the Zombies franchise off of, don't ever believe that. They're just trying to sell that to get their podcast to have 1 million subscribers and 50,000 likes, like I've heard Meg Donnelly and Dove Cameron say. I don't know how many times I've seen Meg Donnelly and Dove Cameron sitting behind a podcast microphone and being very irritated about the questions that are being posed in interviews, because they've been asked the same question 100, if not 1,000 times over. If you're interviewing somebody, interview somebody and ask them different questions that separate your interview from somebody else who interviewed them probably 2 days ago. For God's sake, if you're going to do anything on a podcast, say something relevant to what, everybody is wanting in terms of content. Because if you're subscribed to a podcast on Spotify, you don't want to hear the same 15 questions if you're interviewing someone for 20 minutes that you heard 2 days ago. Everybody's interviews is the same. And I know this because I scripted a lot of interviews for pro wrestling and entertainment over the years, and it's very difficult, I know, to make your interview sound different from everybody else. But I'm going to tell you a little secret about interviewing somebody. When you're looking for the perfect interview with, say, a Meg Donnelly, you have to look for an interview where it's almost like two people are talking and they've been friends for forever. And if you can find an interview, stumble across an interview on Spotify where two people are talking like they've been friends for forever, then you've struck gold on streaming services and streaming platforms, because it's very hard to find those kind of interviews. One thing that I always tried to do when I used to interview people 15 years ago on my original podcast was I always tried to make the conversation sound like a friendship between two people for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. And ultimately, you'd come out on the other side of the program, being very thankful that you did, because you not only brought the best out of the person you were interviewing, but you also brought the best out of yourself and gave the person that was listening to the show a very interesting interview. I mean, how many live streams on Instagram and TikTok do you see that are very boring because celebrities don't know what to say? I've seen a lot of people get caught up in the moment. You want to see compelling stuff. You want to hear compelling stuff and compelling arguments, and that's what I want to give to you guys. If you want to hear something nice about Descendants and Zombies, simply put, then you're going to want to keep it locked on this YouTube channel. You're going to want to subscribe to this YouTube show, because you will hear nothing but good things about Descendants and Zombies, because I've been a huge fan of it for forever. I sucked at sports. I was a theater kid, much like Milo Menem was years ago. If there were two people in the theater arts room, I was one of them. I love the opportunity to create. I love the opportunity to be one of the technical engineers behind special productions and ballet recitals. I've seemingly had a hand in everything. And here's the thing. 25 years later, when I look back on it all, I don't regret having done it. I don't regret having said one thing about Descendants or creating one podcast about Descendants for each and every one of you, because I know that's what you're searching every day when you get some time online, you get some time to yourself, you search up Descendants, you search up Zombies, whether that's your favorite song, whether that's your favorite star doing an interview on a podcast that you've never heard tell of. I know how much it means to each and every one of you, because I've been there. I've sat there and I've watched every single movie of Descendants. I've watched every single movie of Zombies. And I fell in love with both franchises. And I know more than enough reasons why you are compelled by it as much as what you are, and why you love it so much. Regardless if it's the script, regardless if it's the music, regardless if it's the message conveyed in the script, like how True Love's Kiss works every single time, and a fairy tale, love, and life can be so overrated, quoted by Evie from Descendants. Regardless of what you remember Descendants for and why you're a fan of it, I want you to know that I appreciate each and every one of you because of it. And I will say that over and over and time again on this podcast until I have 1 million subscribers, or 1.5 million. Now, I know for that to happen, every single person who ever found this video would have to hit the subscribe button, and that's virtually impossible. Impossible, as they say in entertainment. But it would be really fantastic if everybody would go out of their way to hit the subscribe button. It would really make my day, because here's a secret between all of us. I love when I see the subscriber count going up on this YouTube channel. I love when I see people always engaging in the content. I love when I see people just enjoying what they find on YouTube. I am one of the only YouTubers that reveals who he is, says how he feels about Descendants, and holds nothing back, and does it because he shares in the same passion and love and desires as each and every one of you. The reality of this that we face tonight is, I share in the same passion as each and every one of you do. I was there for the night that the Descendants 2 movie premiered. I thought the opening number they shot in front of that castle was incredible. Ways to Be Wicked was a beautiful way to open up the movie. Rotten to the Core has become one of the most revered Descendants singles of all time off of any Disney Channel original movie soundtrack, and really set the tone for what Descendants was going to be about for the next decade, and still is to this very day. I mean, one of the songs they want to remake for an upcoming Descendants franchise would be Rotten to the Core if the argument was ever presented. I'm going to be very honest and to the point with each and every one of you. You guys deserve better than what you're seeing on YouTube in the way of YouTubers out there who go out of their way to say nothing but negative comments about Descendants, because I know how much each and every one of you have fallen in love with this franchise, how much each and every one of you want better. And the same thing can be said about the Zombies fans out there. You can call the Zombies franchise a copycat of Descendants as many times over as you want, if not 100 times, 1,000 times over. But there are just as many fans of Zombies out there as there are Descendants fans, and there is no comparison and no argument to be presented. While people will try to bring up the argument of what franchise is better and say Descendants is without question, with a sit rating of 6.4, that's only a 0.2 percentage difference. Both franchises are revered for very, very known reasons and very deserving reasons, and I don't think there is any room for any criticism to be presented about Descendants and Zombies. I sit there, I watch these franchises with my hand on my chin like this, and I enjoy it just as much as each and every one of you do, and I have nothing bad to say about it. So if you want to always hear something nice about Descendants and Zombies, you're going to want to lock it on this YouTube channel, because I have a lot of fun videos coming up for you that you're really going to enjoy. I prepare nothing. I don't promote any videos. I just say how I feel about Descendants. I speak from my heart to each and every one of you, from one heart to another. I throw this video up on YouTube with a couple of hashtags because I have to, a description because I have to, a title because I have to, and a thumbnail because I have to, because nobody's going to click on nothing. So I throw it up on my YouTube channel and I walk away. I go to the store, I go to EB Games, I check out video games because I'm a huge video gamer. I come back, and if I have 50 views on the video, if I have 100 views on the video, if I have 1,000 views on the video, it all depends. But okay, I get a 50 view video, well, next video will shoot for 100 views. I don't promote any videos. I don't, do anything special with them. But I do it because I know that each and every one of you are die-hard Descendants fans, and you've never quit on me, so why should I quit on you? The bottom line is we are all in this together, and we are up against probably, the reality of it is, 100,000 critics out there who have nothing but bad things to say in the way of reviews about Descendants and Zombies. But I give you my word, I'm going to do my best. If I've got 10 years left in me as a podcaster, I'm going to do my best to say the best about Descendants and Zombies and give you what you want, and that is the best in the way of a podcast, that is the best in the way of a YouTube show that all of you are going to love. Yeah, I got a couple of strip lights. I got, Mickey Mouse behind me and a bunch of Disney stuffies and 150 video games that I never ever play. But I do the absolute best I can for each and every one of you because I know you guys deserve better. I mean, how does a critic get away of doing a 5-minute review of the Place to Be music video about a week and a half ago and get 1,000 likes for saying nothing but negative stuff about it? Give me a break. The purpose of that music video was to introduce us to a new group of characters. It was done successfully, and what it was done for, the purpose behind it for the idiots out there, is to convey the future and secure the future of the stars that are going to carry on the franchise long after Meg Donnelly and Milo Menem have said goodbye. They're trying to make Zombies 5, Zombies 6, and all the critic can say is they're running the supernatural creatures to keep the franchise alive. I don't buy into it. I don't believe it. As long as there's a heart that you guys have that believes in Zombies and Descendants, we got a long way to go, and we are in for one hell of a ride. And I can only hope that each and every one of you think I'm cool, think this YouTube channel is cool, think a really nice guy is hosting this YouTube channel, and you're going to hit that subscribe button. I don't want anything from you in the way of monetization, although being monetized would be really cool. I have over 1,000 subscribers. I need 3,000 watch hours to achieve monetization. I don't even care if I get monetized. What I care about is you guys getting what you want out of Zombies and Descendants, because these are two quality franchises whose legacies in the way of stars, actresses, and actors have been solidified because of each and every one of you. They can act and get no views, no hours of stream time on Disney+, but the reason why Descendants and Zombies are going on this Worlds Collide tour, the reason why Descendants and Zombies even exists, is because of each and every one of you. And because I know that, that's why I've devoted a certain portion of my lifetime to doing this podcast, regardless if you like it or you don't, for each and every one of you, because I believe we are in this together. You guys brought me back. You wanted a hero, and you brought me back. You pulled me from out of the abyss like Batman, and I can't thank you enough for it, because without you, this YouTube channel can't exist. So I want you to think about that. I want you to hit the subscribe button while we watch this video together. I believe this is the first time, actually, that I'm going to be watching this video with you, and to be honest with you, I'm really excited about it.
This is our first time all kind of like together and hanging out, and I'm like, it's a vibe.
It's
So
a
it's a
vibe.
Yeah.
It's like our college experience.
A 3-month sleepover.
Wait,
Think about it, there's gonna be hours in a day where we're just like
Exploring
not doing
new
anything.
cities.
Yeah,
Chinese
trying
food.
to
You guys have fun. I'll be sleeping.
Yeah.
I'll be resting for the show.
We'd be like, "That's just wake up."
I'll come out.
Honestly, yeah, ask us on the 3rd month of tour. Make sure to come check us out at the Descendants Zombies Worlds Collide tour coming to a city near you this summer. See you there!
I want you guys to know that you guys are the best fans that anyone could ever had who ever had a podcast on YouTube. You guys are incredible. You are the best fans that anyone could ever dream of having, and I have over 1,600 of you subscribed to this YouTube channel, and I am eternally grateful for each and every one of you. If there's one thing I want you to run away with from this podcast, is that every dream that you have, regardless of what that dream is, because there are millions, if not billions of dreams out there who have yet to be achieved, but I want you to know that every dream is achievable. All you have to keep doing is running after that dream and reaching as high as you can, because the stars are the limit. And if you've ever dreamed about going back in time like Red and Chloe, if you've ever believed that forever does exist and fairy tales are real, and superheroes are real too, I can't forget about that one, then I see nothing wrong with it, because I'm in the same position as each and every one of you, holding on to your hands, and if we're going down together. The way I look at it is, if we're going down together, and we're up against probably 5 million critics out there. But even if we are up against 5 million critics, I know you guys have my back, and as I've said before on this YouTube channel, I'll take a bullet for you every single time. I'll take a bullet for Meg Donnelly, I'll take a bullet for Kylie Control, and they don't even know I'm taking bullets for them, which is the unfortunate thing about it. I take a bullet for Meg Donnelly every single day of my life. I do the same thing for Kylie Control. And I do the same thing for each and every one of you who believes in Descendants and Zombies, because, like I said, I will proudly take a bullet for each and every one of you, because I know how much these franchises mean to each and every one of you. You are the most incredible fans in the world, and I don't ever want you to forget that. So what do you say we all go spread some kindness? I will keep uploading videos for you on this YouTube channel to give you great Descendants and Zombies reviews, great Descendants and Zombies commentaries, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun doing it. So if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, the choice is yours. It's completely up to you. I would love to have you as a subscriber. I know a lot of people are taking themselves up on the opportunity and the chance on this YouTube channel because they think it's really cool, and in all honesty, it's been an honor of mine being here for each and every one of you to provide you with these commentaries on Descendants and Zombies, which I am a huge fan of. So what do you say we go spread some kindness? Bye, YouTube. We will do it again in a couple of days. Be kind to one another.